We're all familiar with censorship on social media and the manipulation of algorithms and the trending lists, which give the appearance that a topic is popular by having it manually inserted into the list, which creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of people thinking that it's popular because it's there. So they start posting about it, which then makes it popular. Years ago, Facebook employees admitted this was happening, although it was obvious to everyone with a brain. And out of embarrassment, Mark Zuckerberg then eliminated the trending list altogether. And everyone knows this was a daily occurrence on Twitter, which still has a trending list that largely still drives the news cycle. But since Elon took over and cleaned house, it appears that manipulation has ended. But there's another popular trending list that's manipulated by manual curation that most people just accept at face value as being an accurate list of what's popular. And that's the New York Times bestseller list. And I'll get into that in a moment, but in case you haven't heard, my new book came out this week. It made it to number 4 on the Amazon bestseller list, a real, accurate, authentic bestseller list. But I'm not on the New York Times bestseller list because I'm just a guy in my kitchen on a laptop, and I don't deserve the prestige of being on such a list because I'm just a YouTuber. But this happens to a lot of people. And by the way, order The War on Conservatives by clicking the link in the description below. Contrary to popular belief, the New York Times bestseller list is not a list of the best-selling books for the week, but instead a recommended reading list of sorts, a favorites list put together by the New York Times editors. Earlier this year, James Patterson, the popular novelist who has sold over 400 million books and is one of the world's wealthiest writers, went off about this in a series of tweets, pointing out that numerous books that should have been on the list that week were mysteriously missing, and he also said that the bookstores and publishing houses have known about this for years and can prove that the lists are often outside the realm of statistical possibilities. Last year, when Alex Jones' book, The Great Reset, came out, of course the New York Times censored it from their list because they can't allow the general public to see that a book from Alex Jones was number 1 in America. Also last year, when The Man Behind the Curtain Inside the Secret Network of George Soros was released and the sales figures showed it should have made the list, of course, it was censored. Since George Soros is a powerful leftist who happens to be ethnically Jewish, a Gino, a Jew in name only, as opposed to a religious Jew, the ones who actually believe in God, any criticism of him whatsoever for his actions and what he does with his money is deemed anti-Semitic and attempts to shut it down. And so, of course, the New York Times is part of that censorship machine, hiding the fact that a book exposing him was a bestseller. Ted Cruz's book, A Time for Truth, was excluded from the list in 2015 when it was qualified to be number 3. They claimed it was because most of the sales were from bulk orders, which is evidence that an author or an activist group is ordering tons of books themselves in order to artificially inflate the numbers, which happens all the time with brand name politicians, whether they're Republican or Democrat. But the publisher, HarperCollins, issued a statement saying that they investigated the sales patterns and found no evidence of such bulk orders for Cruz's book. And after he called them out on Twitter, and their mission started making headlines, the list was then quietly updated in order to make the controversy go away. Bill O'Reilly's book, Legends and Lies, The Patriots, was included on the New York Times bestseller list when it came out in 2016, but only ranked number 6, despite being number 1 on the Wall Street Journal's bestseller list, as well as number 1 on Publisher Weekly's list. And the Nielsen organization, which tracks book sales like they do television ratings, reported that Bill O'Reilly's book sold over 24,000 copies that week, while the number 1 book on the New York Times bestseller list, The Gene by Siddhartha Mukherjee, or however you pronounce his name, which is about genetics, sold under 10,000 copies. So Bill O'Reilly sold nearly 2.5 times as many books as the supposed number 1 bestseller, but they listed him at number 6. In 2018, when Stormy Daniels' book came out, remember that floozy? She wrote a book detailing her alleged affair with Donald Trump, so the New York Times included it on their top 10 bestseller list, but not Fox News' Jeanine Pirro's book Liars, Leakers, and Liberals, or David Limbaugh's Jesus is Risen, both of which had actually sold more copies than Stormy's during that same time period. Again, the actual sales figures are tracked by BookScan, which is run by the Nielsen Company. In 2019, Jim Acosta released a book containing his grievances about Donald Trump titled The Enemy of the People, A Dangerous Time to Tell the Truth in America, that didn't even make it into the top 50 on Amazon's bestseller list and completely dropped off the top 100 after just 2 days. But the New York Times placed it at number 10 on their bestseller list, proving once again that it's not an accurate ranking of the week's best-selling books, but really just a favorites list of the editor. Gossip monger Michael Wolff's book about Fox News made it onto the New York Times bestseller list last month, despite selling barely 3,000 copies its first week, while my book, The War on Conservatives, sold more than that the first day that it came out, but of course, I'm not included on their fancy little list, and I give it a less than 1% chance I'll be included next time they update it. Not a 0% chance, miracles do happen, but I'd say there's about 0.1% of a chance that it will happen. As Rodney Dangerfield said, I don't get no respect. But the New York Times is mostly fake news, and so I guess we shouldn't expect anything else from them other than having a fake bestseller list as well. If you haven't ordered my new book yet, you won't be disappointed. It's way better than my videos and makes a perfect Christmas gift. So order The War on Conservatives now in paperback from Amazon.com by clicking the link in the description below. As you know, conservatives are under attack on numerous different fronts by a well-funded, highly organized Marxist movement in public schools and universities, in corporate America, the legal system, the media, and in the streets. American symbols and holidays, Christianity, even churches and the nuclear family itself are under siege. LGBT extremists are preying on children, while white people are being systematically demonized by critical race theory, which is just anti-whiteism in disguise, and millions of illegal aliens have been allowed to invade our country. Over 20 million now, by the way. Censorship on social media is being leveraged by cancel culture mobs to silence critics and those trying to fight back. Democrats are even inciting and endorsing violence against their opponents by using Antifa and Black Lives Matter foot soldiers, all while being cheered on by Hollywood celebrities. And there are even traitors in our midst, cowardly conservatives and rhinos who have sold out their principles for power and profit. It's all detailed in The War on Conservatives, so order it in paperback from Amazon.com or download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores. And of course, there's a link to the Amazon listing in the description below, so click it and head on over there and check it out.